My name's John Bracken. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Speek.
And my name is Danny Boyce. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Speek.
Hey, I'm Scott Case. I'm going to be hosting this session. I've been mentoring John and Danny over the last few months as part of the Wall Street Journal Startup of the Year. And the last time we got together, we were talking about product quality and some of your customer stuff. So what I'd love to do is I'd like to kick off our session, Danny, with you to talk a little bit about the progress you made with Speek. And then John, why don't you think about how we can best use this session to kind of advance the ball onto the next topics, all right?
Right.
So Danny, why don't you kick in and let me know where we're at?
Yep. So just a little, little context. Last time we talked a lot about some quality issues that our users were experiencing. We definitely took that to heart and don't take that lightly. We've been, a good problem to have is we've been experiencing just massive growth, especially over the last few weeks. 300 times increase in average conference calls per day. We've had record volumes of concurrent callers. And I think these things exposed a couple weaknesses that we needed to address immediately. And those probably fall under two buckets. There was one that I think was customer support and operational. And then I think there was one that was clearly technical. So I'll speak to the technical component first. So we started off with the basics. We put better error handling in place. So when something does go wrong, friendly error page shows up. You get a link to customer support so you can contact someone immediately. So we're alerted of it. We reach out to that person immediately. There's also a link to go back because a lot of times it was because the server crashed due to load. So it would take you back to the previous screen, and that usually would actually make it so you'd have the screen would work because the server would auto reboot. And I think the other half was from the operations and customer service side of it. We've made it a point. I know John personally sent an email out to every user from the last few weeks who had an issue, apologizing, explaining the situation, offering them free Speek Pro for free, so giving them something for free to stay on board. We've also, as we go and we get reports of any customer support issues, we now have reallocated some of our human resources to just call those people immediately, get on the phone with them, talk them through what the issue might be. And we've gotten just amazing feedback.
Yeah, look, I think the biggest thing you guys did, and we talked in between the last Spreecast and this one about this notion of kind of owning the challenge as opposed to trying to, scramble around in the back and fix it technically. The reality is that every startup runs into these challenges. So I think it's really smart that you guys took it on because I think your whole solution is really about kind of embracing the whole customer experience. And when it doesn't go well, you guys should own that and correct for it. So it sounds like you've done the right thing, and I'd love for people who are using Speek to give feedback, and maybe that's an opportunity if you're watching the Spreecast and you've tried Speek.com. Tell us what you think and how it's working. I want to move on though, because I think, John, we've got a list of a couple other things that we probably ought to spend some time on as you guys are now in scale mode and starting to grow. But I want to let you drive this. So what are the one or two things that are kind of top of mind right now about taking Speek to the next level?
Sure. I mean, one of the things that you hit upon in the last session, I think that was kind of made us think a little bit more, was really our target market and who are we targeting. And services like Dropbox or more recently Mailbox, they really appeal to kind of an earlier adopter crowd, kind of a psychographic segmentation. And the challenge with that is you find customers naturally in all kind of industries and all sizes of business. And so for us, it's like, how do we find them in a very cost-effective manner? As you drill down, you find really the highest density of those types of people, the category defining kind of mavens of the internet, if you will, in lots of startups, startup communities, service providers to the startup communities. And so we're really kind of drilling down and kind of into that segment, if you will. And just to give you a feel of the types of customers that we have today, it's people like Trevor, who has a startup, a 20-person startup in New York City. He likes Speek because not only it's easy for him to use, but it's cool, and so it appeals to him. He likes to try new services like that. Or Sean, who runs Sean, who runs a 30-person consulting firm, serving the government. He's adopted it across his entire business. It's just really fast and effective for him, and solves a lot of problems for him in terms of like knowing who's on the line. Or it's a patent attorney who cares a lot about the identities of the people and wants to make sure that he knows exactly who's on the line at all times.
Let's talk about how you're going to tackle that problem. So what you have is what fighter pilots call a target-rich environment, which of course they mean sort of facetiously that there's a lot of enemies around them and they're likely to get in deep trouble. You have a target-rich environment problem, which is what's going to get you in trouble is you're going to keep pursuing all these different categories. I think what you guys need to do over the next few weeks is to identify a handful, 3 to 5 existing customers where you've got some density in them right now. Who's using this on a really frequent basis? And start to profile those user categories, and then see if you can come up with a strategy where you can acquire the next set of customers that meet that criteria and what it costs you to do that. Don't worry about it being expensive at this point. Just understand what the number is. So if you said to me, hey, Scott, we went and analyzed our Speek customer base and we found 25 customers that were, let's use your patent attorney example, that were patent attorneys. What I'd say to you is to say, good, go see if you can get 100 more like that. Okay, and what does it cost you to get them? How do you reach out to them? What's your strategy for that? And I can't tell you if the patent one's a good one or the startup one's a good one. It doesn't matter. What you need to do though is I would look at your existing customer base and find where you've got some density, and then see if you can have a strategy that's going to acquire those customers in some way, and how many of them are there? So if you told me, hey, look, it turns out there's 100,000 patent attorneys out there that meet that same criteria, and I say, great, go get more of them and see what it costs and how effective it is for you to be able to get there.
Right.
But that's, I think, your next step on this is find some concentration and see if you can play into it aggressively, and then try to be efficient with that. Because if you find a big enough market segment, then it'll be worth playing for. Because right now you're going to have this target-rich environment problem, which is, another way of describing it is a death by 1,000 cuts, where you'll be sitting here in 3 months and you'll have a lot of customers, but you won't have any way of turning the crank and acquiring new ones.
Right now, a lot of our sales campaigns and marketing campaigns are really testing against very specific targets, whether startups in New York City or startups in Seattle, or whether it's VCs. So, and we can look at the response rate and things like that. So we're actually moving towards a path of really understanding which markets are going to respond faster than others, and getting to the definition of that.
What you need to do, and this is classic for startups, especially that are kind of consumer facing, even if they might be business users, you're really going after individual users, is that you need to be able to turn a crank and know that when you put this much money in, you get this many customers out, and you're not quite there yet. You're getting there, but you need to get to that place as quickly as you can. And right now, if it's early adopters as a psychographic, what are the categories where you're going to find those early adopters and figure out how to turn that crank, and know that you may pay a premium to get them in, but you want them in as power fans and power users. So it's not your casual folks that might use it once. You need to use those guys that are using it every day, because they become the ones that drive your testimonials and all kinds of other choices that you have. So that's I guess my homework assignment for you guys is, figure that part out, and then let's check in again in the next few weeks and see where you're at.
Right.
That's right.
All right, awesome.
Thanks,
Well, keep up the good work. I'm going to keep using Speek, and I'll press that complaint button if I have problems the next time, all right?
Please do. We welcome it.
You're going to call right
All right,
back.
talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.